Welcome back. Let's take a look at the right cosets of our group here. So in our last example, we computed the left cosets of this subgroup inside of that group. And we want to determine then if the right cosets are the same as the left. If I want to determine the right cosets, I am simply taking that subgroup H and multiplying on the right by each of the elements. So row 0. I can multiply each of our elements of H, row 0, on the right by row 0, so row 0, and mu2, double check that, mu2, excellent. Mu2, multiply on the right by row 0. This is going to give us, of course, row 0 doesn't change anything. That is the identity element. So that is row 0, mu2. And that's the same thing as multiplying by mu2. Here, since we're looking at the right cosets instead of the left, we are interested in varying the elements on the right. So left, right. So we're interested in these rows, this row and this row. Excellent. So when I multiply on the right by row 0, it gives me row 0 mu2. When I multiply by mu2, it gives me mu2 row 0, the same thing. All right. Multiply on the right by row 1. If I multiply on the right by row 1, I'm going to get row 1 and delta 1, which is the same thing as multiplying by delta 1. And you know what? I wrote something down wrong right here, so let's go ahead and correct that in just a moment. I said this is the same as multiplying on the right by delta 1. Up here, I said that multiplying on the right by row 0 is the same as multiplying on the right by mu2, but I wrote it as left. Multiplying on the right by mu2. There we go. Now, if I multiply on the right by row 2, row 2 gives me row 2 and mu1. Row 2, mu1. That's the same as multiplying on the right by mu1. When I multiply on the right by row 3, I get row 3 delta 2. That's the same as multiplying on the right by delta 2. So I'm able to identify the right cosets as row 0 mu2, row 1 delta 1, row 2 mu1, and finally row 3 delta 2. And we want to observe whether or not these two things are the same. When I say these two things, I mean the left and the right cosets. So here we have the right cosets. In our last example, we determined the left cosets. We see that row 1 mu2, row 0 mu2, row 0 mu2, that's what that was supposed to say up here. Hopefully you copy that. Sometimes the zeros come out as looking like 1s. Anyway, row 0 mu2, row 0 mu2. Excellent. We have that is the same. However, row 0 delta 1 here, row 1 delta 1, row 1 delta 2 doesn't match. Row 2 mu1, row 2 mu1, hey, that does match, but row 3 delta 2, row 3 delta 1. Okay, so we have that that matches, but these two do not. That matches, but these two do not. So left and right cosets do not match. Because the question is do all of them match? And the answer is no, they don't all match. Since I have some that do not, I consider in general, no, they do not match. So since the left and right cosets do not match, based on my comment from our previous collection of examples, we should expect that when we rewrite that multiplication table, that we will not be able to observe a group sort of relationship between the cosets for this given subgroup. But join me in our next video to see the details of that. So I'll see you guys back in the office in just a moment.